Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at Coca-Cola stock, and this is actually a stock that was recommended to me by one of my subscribers, and the reason why is because they are at a very critical level here on their 3-month graph. Now, I do have it set to 1 year right now, so we can see the price strength that they were having before the economic downturn that happened 3 months ago, and you can see that they were doing pretty well. They were having some flatness here. However, in the last 3 months before the crisis, they were able to rocket up around $20 of their value. And as a result, it's actually very surprising for me right off the bat to see this graph and to see how much weakness they actually do have in their stock as of right now. You can see that they've come off their lows at around the $35 range. However, they've never been able to break the $50 range and have tried multiple times here in the last few weeks. Now, you can see that their graph does look very choppy with multiple opportunities of downside and then a quick pullback as the market overreacts to, or sorry, pulls back from an overreaction here. So you can see that you could have profited both ways here over the last few weeks. And honestly, I would say that Coca-Cola is a very good, strong stock to swing trade, especially in the short run, with around 1 week to half a week time frames here. Now, if we do come over to the trading view, and this is something new that I'm trying on the channel, where I actually mark up the levels and kind of explain exactly what I'm thinking about here when I do look at a stock. Now, as far as Coca-Cola, you can see that they had some high highs here coming into before the downturn, however, crashed very strongly immediately following those new highs, all the way to around $35 or half of their stock's value. Now, they have been able to recover around the $50 range. However, you can see that there have been many points of resistance and they haven't had a clean run up or as clean of a run up as we'd like to see. Additionally, they haven't had a very clear downturn or sell off as well, and have had multiple moments where they're selling off and immediately pull back very strongly in the next 2 or 3 days. However, you can see just from looking at this graph that over the last month or so, 2 months, that most of their candles have been red. So even if they do have gains throughout the day or open very highly, they can immediately sell off and for multiple days, honestly, more days than they've been on the upside. So genuinely what that shows me here, or generally the trend that I'm getting from the stock just off the first glance, is that they have a lot of weakness in their price, and if they do have a big up day, you can expect it to be followed by a big red day in the days to follow. So essentially what we're looking at here is a chart or a stock that is within a clear range and a clear pattern here. You can see that they've come up all the way to around the $48 mark, $49 mark if you're trying to really push your luck, and come all the way down to around the 43 range within the last few months. So what we're looking for here is whether or not Coca-Cola can break this key level in the weeks to come. Now, this is a very critical time, and what could push the stock over the edge is whether or not the market opens red tomorrow on Monday, the 30th. And essentially, what we're trying to watch for here is if Coca-Cola can come below this $43.50 level and hold for at least a day. You can see that most of the times when a stock runs up, it comes up throughout the day, can pull back, and then the very next day is when you should watch out for that critical move or that rocket type move where stock can go up $10 in a day or come down $10 in a day, potentially not that much for Coca-Cola as they are a smaller stock or a lesser valued stock here. However, they have had a lot of days where you can see they run around $3 or $4, and this is all you really need to profit as an intraday trader or as an options trader in the short run. So what we're kind of looking for here is tomorrow when the market opens, kind of watch out and see whether or not we're going to see another one of these type pullbacks like what we've seen where they have a sharp sell-off period, then a 2 or 3 day run period, then come back to another sell-off. And that's essentially what we're trying to watch out for here. You can see that the last time they bounced, they had a couple days of up and downwards movement, followed by two red days, two very strong red days, and then they immediately came back up to that $50 level. So what I'm kind of watching for here is whether or not they can have an extremely bearish candle to around the $42, $43 range. And if they can break this $43 range, then I'll be looking to buy puts here on them in the short run in the week to come. And I'll be watching to see if they can break this $41.86 level. Now, if they can break this level, then it's actually very concerning for the stock. And you can look to for them to be running down all the way to their downturn lows of around $40, $38 here. And essentially, that would mean that the stock has hit rock bottom. They really can't come down more than this because this is essentially the minimum that they were worth, considering all their assets and everything else during the time of the economic downturn here in the last few weeks and last few months. So watch out for these critical levels around $40. Now, I do think they're going to be a type of stock that can come down, hold on to the market, have a couple flat days, and when the market does bounce, have a huge recovery up to around the $50 range again because of the fact that they are beat down so heavily and even are beat down, even though the market didn't have that much of a bad week. They did have a negative week. However, there was a lot of pullbacks throughout, and you can see that they haven't really been strongly represented here in the graph. You can see that they were having a very, very pitched downturn and then immediately hit this $45 range and came back up a little bit as this was too fast of a sell-off. Now, if we do look at some key indicators here, such as the RSI or the MACD, we can kind of tell whether or not this stock is about to flip or if they're going to continue downwards based on their momentum and on their strength indicators here. So like I was saying in my last video on PayPal, you kind of got to watch out whether or not the stock is being oversold or overbought. And essentially what this graph is telling me here is that they are getting close to being oversold. However, they haven't hit this point yet. So maybe they do have enough gas in their tank to continue running down to around the $41.50 range, which would be around $1.50 more of movement. However, this would guarantee an extremely good position if you're looking to bet on the upside of Coca-Cola coming into the future and especially coming into the long run. If they do hit the 41.50 mark, I'll be looking for some very long calls with around 3 or 4 months of time for them to be recovering to around the $50 or even $60 range, as I'm very bullish on these sort of household name companies that haven't recovered yet, such as Coca-Cola. Now, who has been to an event or social gathering where there isn't a gallon of Coca-Cola present, or sorry, the liter? And essentially, what this means is that this is a company that isn't going to go anywhere soon. They aren't going to leave the market, and they haven't had any sort of run-ins with these social justice type events that have been happening in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So I don't feel that their stock should be as weak as it is right now. Additionally, you can see that the MACD is above the halfway line and is signaling that this stock's momentum is in the downwards direction. Now, the MACD is the only real-time indicator that is present here. However, the RSI still is very good for showing you how this price compares to the past 14 days or so. And essentially what they're telling you is that the stock has been all the way sold to around the 23 to 30 range before. So we shouldn't be so bullish and hope for them to continue upwards around the 36. We should keep a close eye out and see whether or not they're going to be able to break this range. Now, obviously these candles look very dirty. And like I've always said here, guys, these 1 day or smaller amalgamations of candles. So for example, a lot of people like to trade the 1 hour or the 4 hour. And essentially the danger with this is that you can't have a clean indication of what's happening throughout the day if you do have a day where a stock is up and down and up and down. And it's much cleaner to put on these bigger time frames such as day and week and even month. But however, I don't use the month for swing trading because it's just too long of a period of time. However, if we do come to the weekly chart here, you can see a very, very, very clear indication of what's happening with this stock. Now you can see that they had 2 huge weeks where they came down and then immediately coming up, one big green candle, or at least above the last one, then another bigger one above the last one then, and then they hit this $50 range where they're having a lot of resistance and where the stock is going to have to break through if they do want to continue back up to this $50, 55, and even $60 range, which is what they were worth before the economic downturn here. Now you can see that the $40 range is also a critical range for them. They've come down around 1, 2, or 3 times. However, this has been over a longer period of time, and as a result, doesn't necessarily signify any sort of strength or weakness more than it signifies a period of consolidation. And that's why I like to put on this 1 week time frame, because it's very, very clear where the key levels are for this stock in the 1 week time frame. You can see that sometimes they have a reversal here at this halfway point. However, they continue the trend more often than not. and aren't really switching at the halfway point. Instead, they're continuing to these key levels of 50 and 43. So yeah, just keep a close eye out on how they open tomorrow and throughout the week, because if we do get another red candle for next week, then they are in a very bearish pattern and could potentially continue all the way down to 37 or maybe even lower if there is more negativity coming with this stock, or potentially if there's even a negative catalyst coming in this industry. Now, on the MACD for the weekly, you can see that they are very in a downwards momentum here and might even have tried to come back up. However, this jump is so small that I wouldn't even consider it as having done anything. And I would honestly say that the graph is more getting ready to pull back down again and continue in a more negative direction based on what I can see here and based on what the stock has been doing. So yeah, just keep a close eye out on this stock. It's going to be a great opportunity next week to catch a lot of these trades that have been within a range and are ready to break out, whether it's in the upwards direction or negative direction, as a result of what's happening in the market as a whole and a result of the second wave that we're seeing throughout the United States and Europe here in the last week or so, and the weak economic numbers that continue to come out time and time again. So yeah, guys, just keep a close eye out for how the stock is going to be opening tomorrow and throughout the next week. And hopefully they will have a bounce and that will be the most positive, or else just wait for them to hit bottom before investing into a long-term position, as this is one of those stocks that can potentially run up around 20 to 30% higher here in only a single week. So yeah, guys, just keep a close eye out. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will try to have a link for my trading view in the description from now on. However, I'm still waiting to get accepted for that referral link. So yeah, guys, just keep a close eye out for the plays. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you and have a nice week.